Hi, so I will be walking through my iceberg model of poverty, and yeah, let's get into it. So starting with the event at the very top of the iceberg, this is the part that we can actually see. In this case, it's the increasing poverty rates across multiple communities, different communities. According to the government of Canada, 1 in 9 people in Canada live in poverty. Some groups have disproportionately high levels of poverty, including unattached individuals, persons with disabilities, children, recent immigrants, persons in sole caregiver families, and First Nations people living on reserves. That was stated by the government of Canada in 2022. These are the visible outcomes that get the most attention in the news or political discussions but they're just the tip of the iceberg. Now moving on to the pattern. Sorry, I'm just reading off a script. Patterns are things we observe over time that repeat or escalate. In this case, poverty isn't just a one-time event. We're seeing a consistent increase in food insecurity, growing household instability, increasing household debt, and more people relying on social support from the government. According to Statistics Canada, from 2018 to 2022, food insecurity has increased for both those living in poverty by a 3.6 percentage point increase, and those not living in poverty by a 5.8 percentage point increase. And that was stated by Statistics Canada in 2024. These patterns help us realize that poverty isn't just a momentary thing. Instead, it's a long-term issue that is deeply embedded in the system. Now moving on to the underlying structures. These are the systems and frameworks that shape how things work beneath the surface. First, there is the lack of affordable housing or low availability of affordable housing. In many settings, housing prices continue to rise while availability of low-cost housing shrinks. An article written by, apologies if I'm saying this incorrectly, Ting Zhang, in 2021, nearly 1.7 million Canadian households lived in core housing need, meaning they resided in an unsuitable, inadequate, or unaffordable dwelling and could not afford alternatives within their community, a 10% increase from 2018. And that was said by Zhang in 2024. Policies and investment gaps in affordable housing are making it harder for people to find stable shelter. Moving on to the second, we have unstable work conditions. Many people are stuck in part-time, low-wage or contract jobs with no benefits. And according to Statistics Canada, more than 1 in 8 employees, which is 13.3% or 2.1 million, worked in a temporary job. And that was stated by Statistics Canada in 2018. As cited in Press Progress, those temporary jobs typically offer lower wages, fewer benefits, and lower rates of unionization. And that was stated by Press Progress in 2019. Even though they are working, they still can't earn enough to meet basic needs, which is why many of them pick up multiple jobs and pretty much work themselves to complete exhaustion just to make ends meet. For the third portion is limited education access and limited access to job training. Without access to affordable, high-quality education and opportunities, people can't break out of poverty or access better employment options. As stated in an article by the National Center of Education Statistics, in 2023, some 80% of 25 to 34-year-olds were employed. The employment rate was higher for those with higher levels of education attainment. For example, the overall employment rate was highest for those with a bachelor's degree or higher degree, which was 88%, and lowest for those who had not completed a high school diploma, which was 60%. And that was stated by the National Center of Education Statistics in 2024. Moving on to the mental models. These are the very bottom, and they're pretty much deeply held beliefs and assumptions that shape everything above them. The first one is poverty is a personal failure. That people are poor because they're lazy or made bad choices. According to an article written by Khadija Mirza, supposed traits range from personality characteristics such as laziness, slothful work ethics, and poor time management, and that the poor are just not smart enough or slow thinkers. Personal failures lead to poverty, and that was stated by Mirza in 2021. This kind of thinking shifts the blame away from systemic issues and puts it on individuals. The second is, if you work hard, it will lead you to success. This ignores the reality that many people work incredibly hard and still struggle due to structural disadvantages like discrimination, wage gaps, or limited opportunities. When looking at immigrants that come to Canada to start their own businesses and strive for success but still fail, these individuals work hard to keep their dreams afloat. Or if you look at students with no or limited financial resources, work many jobs while studying to afford their education. However, most of the time, many students have to take time off of school to work and save, but this often leads to them ending their education early because it's too much stress to balance. So by using the iceberg model, we can see that poverty isn't just about what's visible to us. It's a complex system. So this is my entire iceberg model, and if I scroll a bit, I have my explanation, how these sources help my understanding, and a list of my references, and this is all included in the PDF that I have submitted on Meskiness in the Dropbox. So I'm going to let you read the explanation and how the sources help my understanding. Thank you for listening, and yeah.